Xi's invite to European leaders met with silence. Taiwan's Speaker of Congress visited the Czech Republic. Europe inks energy deals with more suppliers. British electricity keeps the light on in Europe. World's first quiet trail in Taiwan. Lost luggage claims surge by 30%. Sardinia is tapping into the nudity market. UN decries rising death toll in Haiti.
Hello, I'm Peggy. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, July 20th, and here are your top stories. Bloomberg cited a report from the South China Morning Post as saying that top European leaders have left President Xi Jinping hanging over an invitation to meet him in Beijing later this year. Citing a person familiar with the matter, Bloomberg said that the newspaper reported that on Monday, July 18th, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, French President Emmanuel Macron, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi, and Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez were invited to meet the Chinese president in Beijing this November.
China's Xi Jinping signed the deal during his visit with French President Emmanuel Macron, a move that seems to have caught EU policymakers a little off guard.
On the contrary, Bloomberg reported that European Parliament Vice President Nicolas Beer landed in Taiwan on Tuesday, July 19th, in the first official visit by a high-ranking member of the bloc's legislative body. AFP reported that Beer told reporters upon arriving that now is the moment to stand firm on the side of Taiwan, calling Europe and Taiwan part of a family of democracies. Taiwan's bloom is also Europe's bloom. We won't have a blind eye on China's threats to Taiwan. Europe was late for Hong Kong. We won't be late for Taiwan.
The Czech Press Office, a public institution established by law, reported on July 18th that the Speaker of the Taiwanese Parliament, Yeo Shi-kun, flew to the Czech Republic. In the next 3 days, he and his parliamentary delegation will discuss cooperation between the two countries in terms of economics, culture, and technology with officials of the Czech Republic. The Czech Press Office said that it is expected the meetings of Czech politicians with representatives of Taiwan will be criticized by China, but Taiwan will act independent of their disapproval.
Pane předsedo, vnímám návštěvu delegace z Tajvanu jako částečné plnění toho úkolu, který Evropa má, a děkuji za to, že jste moje pozvání přijali.
The media reported that Yu's visit to the Czech Republic was pushed by the president of the Czech Senate, Milos Vystrčil. Mr. Vystrčil invited Yu during his visit to Taiwan the year before last, where he went despite the protests of China and the disapproval of the Prague Castle. The Czech Press Office reported on Wednesday that according to Vystrčil, Yu will also appear before the Czech Senate and will also meet with the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The leaders of Italy, France, and the European Union finalized deals with their counterparts in Algeria, Azerbaijan, and the United Arab Emirates on Monday, July 18th. Italian Premier Mario Draghi visited Algeria's capital of Algiers, seeking to cement the North African country's role as a preeminent regional partner. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune said the deal would be signed Tuesday to supply a significant quantity of gas. To signal the importance of the visit, the Italian delegation included 4 ministers.
Addressing journalists after meeting Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, Mr. Draghi told journalists the two governments had signed a preliminary deal on energy cooperation.
The same day, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was in Azerbaijan to clinch a deal with President Ilham Aliyev on increased gas supplies from the former Soviet Republic. On Monday, France and the United Arab Emirates also signed an agreement on energy cooperation to ensure oil and natural gas supplies from the Gulf country. The French Economic Ministry didn't release details on the deal, as President Emmanuel Macron hosted Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Paris.
Data from the British National Grid shows that Britain has been piping over electricity to France, Belgium, and the Netherlands via undersea cables each month since April. The electricity shortfall in Europe has been blamed on an unusual shutdown in French nuclear power station, with half of its 56 reactors offline in May for maintenance. refueling, or due to unexpected problems such as corrosion. The UK is now a net exporter of electricity to mainland Europe for the first time since 2017.
There are many types of power plants, each with their own distinct advantages and disadvantages, but they all have one thing in common.
The media reported that the British government recently ordered the national grid to keep 2 coal-fired power plants operational that were due to be shuttered in September, as the ongoing energy crisis sidelines efforts to generate green energy. It is expected that the UK will continue to help France make up its shortfall by using nuclear power for the rest of the year. However, as UK is a net exporter of electricity, this is not expected to shield customers from extreme pricing and a reliance on coal.
Quiet Parks International, a non-profit committed to preserving quiet, awarded the world's first quiet trail to Cuifeng Lake Circular Trail, Taiwan on July 18, 2022. The NPO wrote in a statement on its website that the Cuifeng Lake Circular Trail was established in 2018 and is located around the Cuifeng Lake between Taiping Mountain and Dayuan Mountain in Yilan County. The first national silent trail around Cuifeng Lake allows tourists to experience the sonic landscape through deep listening.
寂静是一切故事的开端。
The organization categorizes silent places by type, including wilderness quiet parks, marine quiet parks, urban quiet parks, quiet trails, quiet stays, and quiet residences and communities. The organization also offers certification for each kind. The Cuifeng Lake Circular Trail is 3.95 kilometers long and the longest trail in the Taiping Mountain National Forest Recreation Area. The thinning crowd preserves the natural silence of the trail, and the actual quiet mountain trail section is designated between mileage markers 2.2 kilometers and 3.7 kilometers.
According to Spanish insurer Mafre SA, the number of travelers reporting stranded luggage this summer jumped by 30% from 2019. However, more bags are going missing as short-staffed airports and airlines struggles to keep up with luggage handling alongside surging travel demand. Although most stranded luggage ends up resurfacing, thus not requiring reimbursement, many passengers have missed their transfer flights or were forced to leave their belongings behind.
KLM, who handles some of the luggage at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, says a backlog of several thousand stranded bags has finally been whittled down to the hundreds, but the problem remains widespread across the region. Last week, Delta Airlines deployed a wide-body plane without passengers to collect 1,000 stranded bags. London's Heathrow Airport, once considered a gateway to Europe, recently asked airlines to cap ticket sales in order to limit daily passengers through September.
Today, there are 17 official nudist beaches in Italy. Tuscany leads the way with 5, but Sardinia is hoping to steal its crown. The island is not only planning to add to its list of 3 official nudist beaches, but also has visions of creating naturist hotels, hiking trails, and even an entire village as it endeavors to attract a growing market. Currently, there are an estimated 50,000 naturists in Italy and 20 million in Europe. The Italian Naturist Association, ANITA, is seeking to turn Sardinia into a heaven for nudist tourism.
The media reported that a section of Ispenas, a nearby 3-kilometer stretch of gold sand beach with dunes and a pine forest, was designated as an official nudist spot in May. The mayor of San Vero Milis aims to develop a remote area abundant in nature for a tourism market which, in turn, cares about protecting the environment. However, not everybody is happy about the growth of naturism in Italy. Not so long ago, sunbathing nude on a beach in Italy could have landed you with a 2-month prison term.
The UN Security Council unanimously approved a resolution last Saturday, July 16th, renewing the mandate of a UN office in Haiti and calling on all countries to stop the transfer of small arms, light weapons, and ammunition to anyone there supporting gang violence and criminal activity. The UN Human Rights Office expressed concern about rising violence around Haiti's capital, saying 99 people have been reported killed in recent fighting between rival gangs in the Site-Solio district alone.
The mandate reflects the key challenges facing Haiti.
Spokesperson for the UN Human Rights Council, Jeremy Lawrence, said that the UN has documented 934 killings, 684 injuries, and 680 kidnappings across the capital from January to the end of June. Over a 5-day period, from July 8th to 12th, at least 234 more people were killed or injured in gang-related violence in the Site-Soleil area of the city. UN humanitarian agencies said they were ready to help embattled communities once it is safe to do so. The Security Council resolution demanded an immediate cessation of gang violence and criminal activities.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. Let's make every day a fun day. I'm Peggy, your host. I'll see you next time.